It was a grey, cloudy day, and Worzel Gummidge was as gloomy as the weather, for his little Robin Redbreast had just told him a terrible tale. Farmer Braithwaite was thinking of replacing him with an electronic crow scarer.
Get off out of it,
he moaned, shaking his fist at a flock of rooks overhead.
Will you or won't you listen to what the body's saying? You got cloth ears or something? You just wait till that there electric crow scarer gets here, then you'll know all about it. And another thing, he demanded. What about me? What about poor old Worzel, eh? It's bad enough already getting no wages. It'll be even worse when he chucks me in the dustbin. Do you hear me?
He cried, marching towards the corner of 10 Acre Field where the birds were digging away at a potato clamp.
I'm talking to you, you stupid bundles of feathers. Shoo! Shoo!
The birds rose, flapped lazily, and settled again a few yards away. There was an expression of low cunning on Worzel Gummidge's turnipy face as he stooped to pick up a potato.
All right then, if he won't shoo, there's only one thing for it. You'll have to be made to shoo.
And he shied a potato at the nearest rook.
Take that!
The rook flew away. The scarecrow beamed, encouraged by the success of his new method.
And that,
he bellowed, slinging spuds two-fisted, his arms going like a windmill. The rooks took wing and scattered pell-mell in all directions. Worzel Gummidge paused for breath and glowered around the field. There wasn't a single rook to be seen.
That'll teach you, you varmints, he roared. I'll learn you to come flying round, poking your beaks in where you ain't wanted.
He caught sight of a solitary crow on a fence post by the lane.
Right,
he growled, picking up a huge knobbly King Edward.
See how he likes this.
The potato sped through the air. It missed the crow, but it did not miss the tall black hat of the crowman, cycling sedately along the lane. The scarecrow heard the muffled roar as the crowman bent to retrieve his hat, and began to quake with terror. He blubbered, running for his scarecrow pole.
I didn't mean it, your Iron Mightiness. It wasn't me, sir. I never throwed no potatoes.
The crowman slowly picked up his hat, dusted it down, and jammed it grimly onto his head again. This is it, Worzel, he hissed as he made for the stile into 10 Acre Field. This is it. There was nothing for it. Worzel Gummidge was to be tried by a scarecrow court. From far and near, summoned by the crowman's pigeons, the scarecrows of the jury arrived to do their duty. Earthy Mangold, Scarra Tater, Hannah Harrow, and many others, marching stiffly through the woods to the crowman's brooding house. When they were all assembled, the crowman entered in his blackest robes. Right, all rise, barked Sergeant Beetroot, and the scarecrows shuffled to their feet. Are we all here, Sergeant? Murmured the crowman, settling into a huge magisterial chair. Sir! Very well. Bring in the prisoner. Sir! Sergeant Beetroot wheeled round and marched smartly out of the room, his ceremonial pitchfork at the slope, and reappeared in a moment with Worzel Gummidge trussed hand and foot and wailing miserably.
Mercy, Mr. Crowman, your worship, sir. Mercy, your honour, your Iron Mightiness. Whatever it is I've done, your holiness, I will never do it no more, I swears it. One more chance, sir.
Right, untie the prisoner and place him in the dock, said the crowman in a low voice. The scarecrow moaned.
Oh, don't put me in no dock, Mr. Crowman, sir. It'll bring me out in turnip blight.
Sergeant Beetroot swore in the scarecrow jury. Right, all of you touch your heads and repeat after me, he bellowed. May this head finish up in a pig's for a bucket if I do not well and truly try Worzel Gummidge and find him guilty. Amen. The jury followed his actions and echoed his words, then sank back onto the bench as the crowman spoke again. Right, read the charge, Sergeant. The Beetroot red face blushed even redder. With respect, sir, can't read, sir. Very well, sighed the crowman. I shall read it myself. The scarecrow jury fell quiet, and the crowman's mellifluous voice echoed around the room. Worzel Edgerow Gummidge, you are charged that on divers occasions you were a thundering nuisance, pain in the neck, and thorn in the side. That you roamed the countryside making trouble instead of carrying out your duties. That you abused the gifts of speech and movement bestowed upon you. That you used your thinking head as a football, and that you knocked my hat off with a potato. He paused at the memory of the last outrage and snorted. How do you plead? The scarecrow looked bemused.
I don't know, your majesty. I never played.
The crowman shook his head wearily. Not guilty, I suppose. You always were a terrible liar. Now, how do you wish your trial be held? Worzelese or Yakety?
In Worzelese, if it's all the same to you, your magnificence,
said the Scarecrow politely, fiddling nervously with his hat. Yes, well, it isn't all the same to me, snapped the crowman. We'll have it in Yakety. Otherwise we'll be here all day. Now then, who is the prosecutor? The Scarecrow frowned and turned to Sergeant Beetroot.
What's that? What's the what his Iron Mightiness said?
Prosecutor, laddie, Sergeant Beetroot hissed. The one that points the finger of scorn at you and tells his worship what a bad lad you've been. He turned to the crowman. Aunt Sally is the prosecutor's son. As Aunt Sally rose and gave a creaky little curtsy, Worzel Gummidge appealed to the crowman.
Aunt Sally? Well, 'tain't fair. Why for should Aunt Sally call me a bad lad? She's worse nor what I am.
Who knew I heart? She squeaked.
Oh, yes, you is.
Who knew I heart?
Is. Heart. Is.
Get on with it, Aunt Sally, said the crowman wearily. She bobbed demurely. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. At once, sir. Let the trial commence, said the crowman. And Worzel?
Yes, you're all powerful.
Be very careful what you say. If you're found guilty, you know what the sentence will be, don't you?
No, sir,
stuttered the Scarecrow. Oh, yes, you do. You remember what happened to Tatty Bogle when he went to sleep in Farmer Thompson's best bed and wouldn't get up? Worzel Gummidge gulped.
He was dug into the compost heap, sir.
Exactly. Now proceed, Aunt Sally. With relish in her squeaky voice, Aunt Sally stood up again and began her speech. Worzel Gummidge.
Yes, Aunt Sally.
You don't call me Aunt Sally, you stupid thing, she hissed. You call me Madam, and you call his worship your honour. Worzel Gummidge nodded furiously.
Yes, Madam. I beg pardon, your honour.
Worzel Gummidge, Aunt Sally continued. Is it, or is it not a fact, that you once threw a fruit pie at Mrs. Bloomsbury Barton?
No, I never,
said the Scarecrow indignantly. Aunt Sally's voice was suddenly oily and dangerous. May I remind you that you have sworn the Scarecrow's oath?
I swears on that there wheat chief that I never throwed no fruit pie at Mrs. that there fat woman. I throw that fruit pie at you, and well you knows it, Madam.
He turned to appeal to the crowman.
And for why? 'Cause she throwed a chocolate cake at me, your honour.
Didn't, snapped Aunt Sally.
You did.
Well, if I threw a chocolate cake at you, Worzel Gummidge, it was for the very simple reason that you threw a strawberry flan at me.
And for why did I throw a strawberry flan at you? I'll tell you for why. 'Cause you throwed a bread and butter pudding at me.
That is a lie.
No, it ain't. Yes, it is. It ain't.
The crowman banged his gavel again. Get on with it, Aunt Sally, he said in a tired voice. Aunt Sally bobbed obsequiously. Yes, your honour. Worzel Gummidge, is it or is it not a fact that you willfully and deliberately threw this King Edward potato? She produced the King Edward with a flourish and lowered her voice dramatically. At his honour, the crowman. There was a shocked drawing in of breath from the jury. Worzel Gummidge looked terrified.
Your Eminence, I swears on my Robin Redbreast's life, I never on purpose throwed no potato at your Iron Mightiness. I wouldn't, sir. I might be stupid, but I ain't barmy, he gabbled.
Worzel Gummidge, went on Aunt Sally. Do you deny that this is a potato? He grabbed the potato from her and took a massive bite.
No, he nodded. It's a potato, all right.
Aunt Sally's eyes gleamed at the admission. And if it was not thrown by you, then how did it come into contact with his honour, the crowman's act? Pardon? Frowned the puzzled Scarecrow. You heard, she snapped back, and if you didn't, you ought to scrape the mud out of your ears.
Well, you're getting me all muddled and muddled, Madam,
Worzel Gummidge grumbled plaintively.
The potato was thrown by me, but it wasn't his honour the crowman as I was throwing it at.
He turned to appeal to the crowman.
I was only trying to do my job, your worship, sir. I was throwing them there potatoes at them dang-blasted ropes.
Worzel, said the crowman softly, you went to Scarecrow School, did you not?
Oh, I did that, sir,
he added eagerly.
That's where I learnt me one times table. 1 and 1 is 1, and another one is another one. And I can't remember the rest because I ain't got my counting head on. I think I'll go and get it,
he offered, starting eagerly for the door. Stay where you are, barked the Crowman. And were you ever taught at Scarecrow School that the way to scare crows is to bombard them with potatoes? The jury sniggered.
Oh, I was not, sir. But begging your crowmanship's pardon, sir, I was desperate, your honour, sir. You see, him what runs Scatterbrook, he's thinking of buying an electric crow scarer.
A gasp of consternation rippled through the Scarecrows. Yes, I know all about that, Worzel, said the Crowman, banging his gavel again for silence. And the main reason why you're here is that your behaviour is bringing that day nearer. If all these Scarecrows are replaced by electronic crow scarers, it'll be because Worzel Gummidge has given hard-working Scarecrows a bad name. The Scarecrows on the jury were furious. Cries of shame, chop his head off, chuck him on the bonfire, feed him to the pigs, put his head in a cider press, pull him to pieces, echoed round the room. Shall I continue with my evidence, sir? Asked Aunt Sally demurely. I have a tale to tell that will curl your honour's eyebrows, if you'll pardon the expression. The Crowman shook his head. I don't think so, Aunt Sally. I believe we can make up our own minds, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do you find the prisoner guilty or very guilty? The foreman of the jury rose. Very guilty, Your Honour. I agree, nodded the Crowman quickly. No. Can anyone think of any just reason why sentence should not be passed?
Yes. Me,
cried Worzel Gummidge indignantly. Silence, barked the Crowman. Stand and face your maker. But the Scarecrow didn't stand. Instead, he fell to his knees and began to weep.
Mercy, Mr. Crowman, sir. Whatever I've done, I'll never do it no more. One more chance, sir. That's all I have. One more chance.
Silence in court, barked Sergeant Beetroot. All rise. He loomed over Worzel Gummidge. And you, he hissed malevolently. As the Scarecrows shuffled to their feet and Worzel Gummidge slowly rose to stand limp and dejected in the dock, the Crowman solemnly pronounced sentence. Worzel Edgerow Gummidge, you have been found very guilty. It is therefore the sentence of this Scarecrow court. You shall be removed from this place and taken to a compost heap, where you will remain for a period not exceeding 14 days. After which time, you will be dug into a...
But what about my little Robin Redbreast, your mercifulness, Mr. Crowman, sir?
What Robin Redbreast? Demanded the exasperated Crowman.
The one what lives in my stomach, your grace and favour,
said Worzel Gummidge brightly. He undid his coat and waistcoat, and the Crowman saw a pair of bright, beady eyes peering out at him. But I got rid of that robin's nest months ago, when I cleared those field mice out of your elbows.
So you did, your eminence. But she'd nowhere to go. So being a bit kind in the head, I let her come back in. I feeds her on biscuit crumbs and blackberries. And every Sunday, I gives her a whole bottle of milk, he explained. You steal her a whole bottle of milk, more like, muttered the Crowman wryly. The Scarecrow was indignant. Finds it, your worship. They leaves it lying about on doorsteps. You can't blame a stupid old Scarecrow for thinking it don't belong to nobody. So if you throws old Worzel on the compost heap, what's little Robin Redbreast to do? Fly away, of course, suggested Aunt Sally malevolently. The Crowman agreed. Of course. Thank you, Aunt Sally. He turned again to the Scarecrow and began once more to pronounce sentence. Worzel Edgerow Gummidge. Excuse me for interrupting your Iron Mightiness, but she can't fly away, see? The Scarecrow explained. 'Cause there's nesting. It's got 4 little tweeties. Come and have a look. The Crowman came down from his seat and bent to examine the contents of the Scarecrow's straw stomach, carefully lifting the bird off her nest and frowning at what he saw.
Are those real nestlings, Worzel? He asked suspiciously. Worzel Gummidge nodded vigorously. Very well, said the Crowman, breathing heavily. Very well, Worzel. You've saved your neck. But if Mr. Braithwaite decides to throw you in the dustbin because you're lazy, incompetent, and mischievous, don't expect me to help you. The Scarecrow gulped with relief.
Oh, I won't, sir. I won't.
Very well. Case dismissed. Worzel Gummidge began to back away towards the door.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, he babbled, touching his hat repeatedly, moving faster and faster, as if he wanted to escape before the Crowman changed his mind. Thank you ever so much. Thank you ever so very, very much.
He hopped over the doorstep, galloped across the clearing, and sped away through the woods as fast as his broomstick legs could carry him back to 10 Acre Field.